Nobody's better at making law enforcement look bad than law enforcers. I got a great story for you coming up. Stay tuned.
But here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
But here's the deal.
So here's the deal.
And here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Because here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Either give me your ID or you go to jail. How about that?
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that? How about that?
Here's the deal.
In pursuit of a Mazda heading south on 3 Points Road.
I got a great story for you. This time it comes out of San Bernardino County, and we've got more deputies. Just think, more deputies who can't stand by the Constitution. They're unable. It's virtually impossible for them to leave somebody alone who's not harming anybody, threatening to harm anybody, or stealing anybody's stuff. This comes from the San Bernardino Sun. Truck driver gets $500,000 for wrongful arrest by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies. So once again, the law enforcement agents have cost the people they're supposed to be protecting and serving a whole lot of money because of their stupidity. San Bernardino County supervisors agreed Tuesday, February 7th to pay $500,000 to a truck driver who was arrested for making a snide remark to deputies during a delivery. So because they got their feelings hurt, and because they took it as contempt of cop, they couldn't help themselves. They had to lay hands on him. They had to put the torture cuffs on him and ratchet him down nice and tight like to teach this guy a lesson. And yet the people who got taught a lesson are the people who get their money extorted from them so that they can have security that turns around and does this to the community. Deputies tried to question Tommy Franks Jr. of Mesa, Arizona on February 6, 2019 for suspected loitering behind a supermarket, but he refused to answer them or identify himself, and cops can't have that. You gotta engage in a conversation with them whether you want to or not. Franks was jailed for resisting arrest. A federal jury last week awarded Franks $375,000 for wrongful arrest with the potential for even more damages, like punitive damages. But the County Board of Supervisors resolved the case by approving the settlement. So they've already settled. So what's the story? Franks, who was a truck driver, minding his own business, doing his job, trying to support his family, was making a delivery at a Winco supermarket in Apple Valley and had parked his tractor-trailer rig in the rear loading dock, according to the lawsuit. Franks walked around the front of the store to inform management of the delivery, and while he was at it, he was hungry, so he purchased some muffins. As he was walking back to his truck, clipboard and muffins in hand. So if you're going to be a cop, you need to have some kind of investigative wherewithal. Look at your surroundings. Look at possibly the truck right there that he's about to get back into because he's making a delivery. Look at the clipboard, which we'll find out in this story, had the logo, the company logo on the manifest, which was the same logo that was on the truck. Doesn't take, the Rockford Files or Columbo or Andy Griffith to figure this out.
There's only one thing that I'm not clear about. Actually, there is one thing.
Franks was stopped by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies. They asked him what he was doing while he was walking with his clipboard, eating his muffin. "What are you doing?" To which he replied, "Walking? I'm walking, officers." Deputies asked Franks for his identification, but he refused. Why? Because he's a free man of the land. He has the right to be secure in his person. He has the right to be secure in his truck. He has the right to walk down the road eating a muffin with the manifest in his hand. He refused and complained that he was being illegally detained. The manifest for the delivery was in plain sight on his clipboard with the logo of the company matching the logo on the truck. The lawsuit said a deputy told Franks that he was being detained for loitering, but Franks, because he possibly has at least 2 brain cells to rub together in his cranial structure, which is more than I can say for the San Bernardino deputies, Franks responded, "How can I be loitering if I'm walking?" That, my friends, is a valid question. But it bounced off the foreheads of the deputies and it took no effect. Franks asked 3 times to speak to his supervisor. The deputy replied that Franks was being hostile and placed him in handcuffs, ratcheting them painfully tight. That's why we call them torture frickin' cuffs, said court records filed by Frank's attorney, Jerry Steering. Deputies contended that Franks, while holding muffins and a clipboard, had taken a fighting stance. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, jury, says the deputies, I was fearing for my life because this muffin-eating truck driver who's minding his own business with a clipboard in his hands took a fighting stance, and we was scared. We was really scared. We were fearing for our lives. I'm surprised Mr. Franks didn't get shot. It was apparent to Mr. Franks that both the deputies' decision to arrest him and to apply the handcuffs in an excessively tight manner were in retaliation for Mr. Franks' verbal protest. That's called contempt of cop. That's where the cop is not satisfied with your answer, and because he's got his little feelings hurt and he's got his ego proudly displayed on his sleeves right next to his thin blue line patch, he can't have that, and he's going to have to go hands-on to teach you a lesson. Because he got beat up on a playground at his school back in 1983. And he couldn't fend for himself. So now he's got to wear the uniform so he can bully other people around against their will and without their consent. So it was a retaliation stop, and for Mr. Frank's request to speak to his supervisor, said the court document filed by Steering. The Sheriff's Department declined to comment on Tuesday. Of course it did, because what are you going to say? We got a bunch of dumb arses working for our freaking Sheriff's Department. We need a new crop of officers who can actually think themselves out of a wet paper bag. Because currently we don't have any on staff. While sitting in the back of a patrol car, Franks asked the deputy, is it hard to breathe with your head that far up your ass? Which is hilarious. The deputy responded by grabbing Frank's beanie from his head. So he wouldn't have any of that. Oh my gosh, somebody called me on my BS. Steering said that Franks did nothing legally wrong. And this is what Frank's attorney said. My guy is dumb enough to think he's got rights. The sarcasm is perfect. It is not a crime in the state of California to refuse to identify yourself to a cop, even if they have a legal reason to detain you. Why? Because there's a little pesky problem that law enforcers don't like called the Fourth Amendment, the right to be secure in your person. You don't have to give up your identity. One of the things that's the most valuable that you own is your anonymity. And the last thing you want to do with that anonymity is give it away to a power-tripping, authoritarian police officer who doesn't give a damn about you, because he's going to take your name and he's going to enter it into that database, and it's not going to be a positive entry. It's going to be negative. Frank spent the night in jail and was released on his own cognizance the next day. He later was charged with resisted arrest. But the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office took a look at the case and said, oh my God, this is going to cost us so much money. And they dropped the case because of insufficient evidence. So this guy, for handcuffs a little bit tight, torture cuffs tight, got $500,000 because deputies could not take their ego being bruised. They couldn't take the clipboard toting, muffin eating truck driver doing his job, questioning their authority. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com, and grab a hard-hitting conversation starting design from the store you can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case that you're going to use to record the dumb arse deputies at the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored Shadow Ban video.